Department of Administration Director Tony Blas spoke to PNC today to explain the $65 million paper deficit for 2014. Blas says the public should not be alarmed as it is a deficit that has already been paid off.
So we have to let the public know that there's a $65 million deficit.
However, Department of Administration Director Tony Blas stresses that this deficit is one that is due mostly to the way expenses were recorded. For example, $20 million in ARA funds were recorded as revenue back in 2011, but the money wasn't spent that year because DOE wasn't ready to spend the money. So although it was recorded as a revenue in 2011, it wasn't recorded as an expense until 2014 when the money was actually spent. Because the $20 million was recorded earlier as a revenue, it couldn't be recorded in 2014 as a revenue. So on paper, we are only left with that $20 million expense, which becomes a deficit, at least on paper. So the cash for that expense was actually there. It was just recorded 3 years earlier as a revenue.
For us, we have to record it and accrue it, and we paid it off.
Blas explains that unlike the deficit for tax refunds that Governor Calvo encountered when he first came into office, this deficit has already been paid off.
We want to apprise the public that this is them. Don't be alarmed. This is a number that happened on September 30th. We're taking care of all these major issues before us.
Blas assures the taxpayers that GovGuam will continue to pay out tax refunds, make payroll, and pay its vendors.
Obviously, we're paying our tax refunds. We're paying lots of, all the other obligations, and we're tracking responsibly. We're watching this very closely, and that number is changed, and so that 65 doesn't exist anymore. Now we're moving forward.
So you're confident that we'll be fine this fiscal year?
Yes, of course. Obviously, we're paying our bills in a timely manner, and I'm very hopeful to continue to have this kind of responsible spending.
Tomorrow, Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz will be holding an oversight hearing on the Bureau of Budget Management and Research.